Hey, everyone out there. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. And fans, we got a great show for you, either on the YouTube channel or on the audio version. I am Mike Spider Slayer. I'm going to pass it on to Brant Fowler. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brant Fowler. You already said that, so that was redundant.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's all good. We got to make sure everyone knows who you are. And next, I'm going to pass it over to, I'll do this, Miss Uno.
Oh, Comic Uno here. How's it going, guys?
And then, of course, we're going to pass it over to Chris, Dark Avenger.
Dark Avenger C86, Chaotic Falcon on Twitch. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, guys. So we got a great show for you, as always. We're going to talk about the news. We got some shout outs. We're going to answer some of your questions. We got our top 5. We got our most anticipated comics of the week. We got some chop and block books. We're going to talk about some Powerpuff Girls. We're going to talk about Infinite Frontier from DC Comics. There's a packed show for you today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Kat.
All right. So we're going to go into our news pieces here. First up is just one I wanted to talk about. Jupiter Legacy gets a new miniseries, but this time it's tied into the Netflix show, which I feel like, I read all of it, but it's for me, the whole book is kind of forgettable. And now that they're not even continuing the actual story and they're only doing the Netflix show, I don't know if I'm getting this one. That's all I had to really say about that.
I mean, I remember the original Jupiter Legacy series in the comic books, and from what I remember, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, I remember it being good, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah,
now, currently.
It's been a long time, So I remember I didn't enjoy Jupiter Legacy 2. I didn't enjoy that one nearly as much.
Yeah, the Circle one, I didn't enjoy as much. I agree.
Right.
I don't think I ever read any of it. I think maybe I tried it at one point or something. I don't remember. It looks familiar, but I don't remember actually reading the story. So.
I don't remember if you read it either. I don't know. Not sure on that one. So that's Jupiter Legacy. Next up, we have one that Mike wanted to talk about. Captain America is celebrating his 80th anniversary with a mini-series with different Captain Americas, and the writer of the current Iron Man series will be writing that.
I mean, I don't know if I will necessarily buy it, just because it's another one of those books where it's just like a ton of stories. It's pricey. But it does have the Iron Man writer in there, and I currently like the Iron Man story right now, what's going on. But I think this is a pretty cool thing, though, if you're a Captain America fan. And this writer could, truly write the way Captain America should be, So this might be something for longtime fans that might want to put in their collection. But I think I'm on the fence about, buying this one.
And we never talk about Captain America on this channel. I think the last time we talked about him was Secret Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. But I don't think any of us are reading the series currently.
I tried the first 2 issues and I just fell off.
None of us here are super Captain America fans. That's really the reason.
I like him in group books. I'm really not a fan of his solo stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's that kind of weird thing where for me it's like with there's certain characters like that with Wolverine. I can never get into a solo book, but I like him in the XMen, and it's the same kind of thing with Captain America. Yeah.
We do have a comment from BJ. Why are comics being delayed? I'm gonna bring this to Mike because he's definitely the one who suffered. Yeah, he definitely suffered the most.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it has to do with all kinds of shipping issues. Something about is going on in Diamond where they fell behind in actually shipping their merchandise or picking their merchandise, which means that they actually are late in just getting the stuff together and sending it out. And then for whatever reason, last week, the freight, the stuff that was supposed to go in the freight cart was actually stuck. And so a lot of the stores in this part of Florida, or whatever reason, wound up not getting their comics. It was supposed to come on Thursday, and then now I still don't have last week's comics because they were so delayed. And I know a few other stores here in the Orlando area got screwed out of it as well. But a lot of it had to do originally with the weather, and being that they also, I think, shut down that distribution center, I think also screwed up some things as well. I don't care. Like, it needs to be solved quickly because I'm sure people are getting very frustrated. Not only just us, but the comic book shop owners, because they're losing out on their possible money. You know what I'm saying? They ordered these books and they don't have them, and then people can't buy them. And
Right.
people are going to get tired of that really quickly. People don't want to hear those excuses from Diamond Distribution anymore.
No.
Like, it's one thing, you know, when COVID was first, you know, a thing and things were trying to get back, but this seems to be like it's happening more and more often, and it's getting very, very frustrating. And the thing is everyone was concerned about DC going to Lunar or whatnot. And I tell you what, storms, whatever's been going on, they don't have a problem. Shops don't have a problem getting their DC comic books. In fact, they get them a week ahead of time. So there is no issue. So somehow Diamond needs to figure it out where they need to get ahead of their shipping, send the comics a week ahead of time, kind of like Lunar does. I know it's a much bigger beast because they do more distribution, but they got to come up with a plan because this ain't going to fly for very much longer for these publishing companies.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
100% agree because now we've got the two newer distributors, and Diamond already took a huge hit.
Just the one
Yeah.
because the other one closed, I believe.
Oh, they did. Which one closed?
Yeah.
UNS.
The
UCS.
one that's the one,
UCS?
the one that's not
Go
Lunar.
figure.
Yeah.
The one that's
Yeah.
connected to Midtown. Okay.
The one that no one remembered the name of.
Yeah, because it's better because I think that DCBS does a bit of a better job than I think, right? Midtown was the UNSC, whatever thing was.
I don't remember which one was which.
I think
Midtown
Lunar
and
was-
DCBS was one. Yeah.
Lunar was DCBS, I believe.
Okay.
DCBS really is good with their distributing. I get once a month from them. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, we've got Lunar now, and I'm sure that other companies will just jump in if Diamond hiccups too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could only hope and see. I did not get my DC books this week, but supposedly it had nothing to do with distributing. It had to do with the UPS handling Johnson & Johnson vaccines. That's
Oh,
the
wow.
reason why.
I
Yeah,
got my DC books this week.
so the comic book store didn't get it on time.
Oh, okay.
So,
I thought New York. I thought New York in general. I was about to say.
Yeah, supposedly it's just like that's why the comic book store didn't get it, and we didn't get ours, I guess, until Thursday. I didn't go to the store to get them on
okay.
Thursday, so I'm gonna get them tomorrow. I've already read them, but I wasn't gonna go take another trip to go there. But yeah, it does suck for retailers, especially.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next thing, which is Heroes Reborn. There's more titles here. One, let me see if I can read them. One, Murder Hornet is a villain. She's a character for the Squadron, Savage. So you have a couple of new characters there. And then there was like Luke Cage, and my screen is freezing. Luke Cage is going to be like Commissioner Gordon. Weapon X and Final Flight is another one. And then there's like a Falcon Green Goblin comic.
Yeah. It's this.
Okay.
I mean, it's reimagining of these characters. We've seen it before. I think some of them are interesting, but I don't know.
Gwen Knight one is pretty interesting, or
Yeah.
Knight Gwen, or whatever she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only one
Only
that
one
looked
I'm
interesting to
interested
me. Yeah, because I'm
Right.
like, okay, that's Batman and Gwen, and the costume actually looks really cool. So I'm
Yeah.
like, and also what's interesting is the person who wrote the Batgirl's backup for Future State is the person who's writing that Spider-Man
Oh, that's
story.
cool. I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that'll be fun. So I'm hoping some of these are fun, and I hope this doesn't go on for a long time. I don't remember how long it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
It's going on for a
It's
long
Marvel.
time. It's
Yeah.
like-
It's Marvel. It'll go all the way until fall.
and it is supposed to be Marvel Universe where there's no Avengers, so you got
Right.
obviously a different team that's got to pick up the mantle, and I think it's the Squadron Supreme or something like that that's supposed
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
the Avengers there. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I think it's just going to determine on the comic weeks on which titles I get, or if any. Like so far right now, the only one I might get is just the spider related ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Me too. Honestly, it was the Peter Parker one, the Falcon one, maybe, and then the Gwen. That's it.
Yeah. The one thing I do find interesting about these kinds of stories is how their paths change. Like what along their path in their life changed to make them into a completely different character. I always find that fascinating. Yeah.
Right. No, I totally get that. So some of them could be interesting. It's just a wait and see type of game too, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next thing then, which is Cable is ending. So in June.
Cable's ending? Oh
So
my
crazy.
God. I didn't call this when it first happened.
It's making Kat sad though.
Yeah.
Called it. I knew it from the first issue.
But a lot of there's so many X-Men books. How could they have them all? This is the first one that's been canceled, I think, right? Or
It is, and it's not going to be the last. I think it's like a domino. This is going to be the first, no pun intended. This is going to be the first, and then it's just going to slowly.
I mean, yeah, is it the first? Is it
Because
really
the other
the
ones
first?
I don't think were ongoings. Like the other
Yeah.
ones that ended
This is
were
the
just
first.
ended.
X Factor, X-Men, Wolverine, Cable,
New Mutants.
Marauders, New Mutants.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is the first.
Yeah, it's the first.
Okay.
What was that one with Psylocke? What was that one?
That was just a mini though, right?
Oh.
It was
Was it?
I think it was a mini.
I don't
Was
remember
it
what it was
a
called.
mini or they called it a mini
I think
after it
was
got
a
canceled?
mini. It was
Yeah.
a mini, but it was a mini.
Right. Yeah. So technically that might be the first.
What
That
sucks
might be
about
the
that
first.
though is that I feel like Cable didn't really do much, like the book, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, I thought something was gonna happen in that book, but now maybe nothing's gonna happen.
I mean,
He's
he
just
made out
he's-
with the cuckoos. He's good.
He's
it.
running around trying to save babies.
I mean,
Yeah, for a
babies.
long time.
when you think about it though, you're still getting more books though. Like, yes, that book is ending, but yet you're getting the business X-Men book, which what was that one called? You getting that one?
I'm not
X-Corp.
interested in
You're getting
that.
that's
X-Corp,
coming
yeah.
out. The X-Men
Oh.
Demon Days.
Yeah.
That one I'm interested in.
You know, there's
Mark
that.
took me off of that.
Fallen Angels, Tevius. Was the
Oh yeah, Fallen
right.
Angels, yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course you got, obviously we're going to talk about it, the new X-Men event that's getting ready
Let's
to come
get
out
into
again.
it.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. The
Yeah.
Hellfire Club. All right, so if you've been reading Marauders, there's just been this gala that keeps being teased, and we're like, who cares? But I guess you have to, because it's gonna be tying into every X-Men book for I guess a month, and then you have this big supersized book written by Jerry Dugan who writes Marauders. And I'm like, man, something big has to happen in this, because I'm just like, I really don't care. I did not care about it before. I thought it was a filler arc. What is going on?
Well, does it involve those kids too? The ones that are in Madripoor that like they're the other Hellfire Club or whatever they used.
I think so, because they got an
Okay.
invite, I think.
Yeah.
Did they get an invite in previous issue?
Maybe, yeah, they did. I think you're right. So it may be like a war for who runs it or something. I don't know.
There's going to be a Hellfire Club already. Kitty
I
Pryde
know.
killing, what's his face? Shaw. It's just like, well, what are you fighting for?
Right, yeah, and Bishop's just there because of Kitty, probably.
And then I think part of it has to do with them filling in the seats that were left open from Cyclops. And then I think you're going to get the actual announcement of who the new team is going to be also. So you're going to get that. But besides that, what is this title? Before it's going to be this big gala. So what are they going to do that's going to...
It's
be the longest party ever.
Exact. Well, it all takes place in one night.
Oh my God.
All the parts take place in different perspectives in one night.
Wow.
That does not sound...
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I feel like this is going to be a trend with the X books until we get through all of this, whatever this is.
You know, I didn't mind Exoswords. Like, I thought it was okay.
Right.
And I thought enough happened where I'm like, okay, that was a worthwhile event. But this one's kind of...
And then there's going to be another one in like 6 months.
But also, though, don't you think, like, this is way too soon to have another big book like this? Like, why can't this just take place in, like, maybe one or two of the books and have separate stories there, because
Money.
I feel like the books are just starting to get into their groove again, and then they're going to get interrupted by this main story. Like
100%.
I got taken out of X-Force because of Ten of Swords, and it took me a good couple issues to get back into it. Now I'm enjoying it again, and it's going to be interrupted. So this continues the problem with these types of events.
Right, exactly. And there's so much going on in the X books from, the groundwork that Hickman laid and everything, that it's like, there's so many threads to pick up, and we keep being distracted from that. It's like, we're not going to get to those for years. Some of those.
And that vault, man, I feel so.
Yeah, the vault. Oh man.
They're going to exit the vault, and they're going to come into the gala.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So we do have a question from BJ who says, if you guys had a chance to write the comic books, I guess, which characters will you choose and why? So I guess we do write, three of us here writes comic books. But yeah, which characters would you choose? I guess for Marvel, DC, even throw an indie in there. Chris, why don't we start with you?
I would go for a Superboy book. I would love to write a good Connor Kent, either mini or ongoing. Start the ongoing, and then DC will kick me off and probably put somebody else in at some point, like they always do.
Cool. For me, I mean, the obvious answer is Spider-Man, so I'm not going to go there. Either Scarlet Spider or Wally West, and do him justice.
I would like to read the Wally West one, because we need a good Wally story after.
Yeah. We need some redemption for Scarlet Spider too, because he's been put through so much.
Man. He's an
Well,
Iron
Brent,
Man.
be a free agent. If you're a free agent, you can write for both companies at the
There
same
you go.
time.
There you go. I'll write them both.
How about you, Mike? I know you do not write comics, but hey, how about one
You
day?
wrote a Spider-Man comic.
I wrote
you wrote
series.
you wrote the for our site. You did write that.
Yeah, I've written stuff before. Again, it would be in the Spider-Man universe. And I would do a villains book. I would love to do some kind of, I know we've gotten to Return of the Sinister Six, but I would somehow do something with that nature. When I was a kid, I also really liked the Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, I think it was called, where it had like the Beetle and it had some of those other characters in there. I would do something with that, and I wouldn't make it this cheesy thing, like this silly thing that Nick Spencer did when he had his Foes of Spider-Man or whatever it is. I would make it a little bit more serious and not so decompressed either. I would make it this story that would be like no more than 5 or 6 issues. But that's what I would do because I love villains, and again, we always say that the villain makes the hero, right? And I just feel like, in many ways, that's what Spider-Man's been lacking these days, is a good villain. And
Chameleon. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey man, yeah, I'm telling you, Chameleon making the comeback. But I don't know. That's what I would do.
For me, for Marvel, I like to write Spider-Girl. Obviously, that's obvious. That's too obvious. Power Pack's also an obvious one, but I would love to write Power Pack. DC, I've talked about this before. I would love
Dazzler?
to write Dazzler, 100% Dazzler. I want to write a Dazzler book so bad. I want to write a Carol Ferris book. I really would like. I've always wanted to write a Betty Loves Veronica book. I feel like that would sell pretty well. Yeah, those are my ideas for comics. So let's get into the last comic topic before we get into our main topic, and that is our favorite boy, Spider-Man, is going weekly. But it's not for Green Goblin, it's not for Rhino, it's not for Hydro Man, it's for Chameleon.
Hydro Man. it's not like Hydro Man's like this A-lister either.
No, I would read a Hydro Man weekly book. There's just a lot of water everywhere. Yeah, Chameleon. I really never liked this character ever. I really don't like him. So, and then it goes back to the main topic of a weekly book for Spider-Man. I think it comes out way too often now, and I love Spider-Man, and that's more about the quality of the book, not the quantity. I would love to have a really high quality book for four times a month. That's great, but I'm scared that the quality will go down more with rushing this so much.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the last time we saw the Chameleon was in the Hunted storyline with Craven and the whole, I don't know, what was it that they created, those VR hunters, right? Is that what it was? I think he was in there. I think the concept of the Chameleon is kind of cool because you could be a disguise and you don't know who he could actually be. But I just never was really into him myself. But that, again, that's not what really bothers me. It's like you said, it's the weekly Spider-Man issue. Like, we're having a struggle right now with Amazing Spider-Man, I feel. And now you're going to put together a weekly book, and it has nothing to do with, what's his face, Kindred or anything like that that's going on. Just here comes Chameleon. He's coming out of the blue, and you're going to be charged, I'm sure, $3.99 for this book. Mm-hmm. So, and this was one of my problems that I had with the way comics are today. We don't need a weekly Spider-Man book when you also have multiple Spider-Man titles and multiple Spider-Man family titles now, as it is too, right? So that's just an oversaturation. And again, you can't spend your money elsewhere, especially if you follow this particular character, right? So, for a weekly book, that story's got to really wow you. And I'm sure you're going to get 4 different artists on this particular storyline when it's coming out once a week. It's got to be that way. And
the quality too. How is the art quality?
That's what my concern is. The quality is going to really get shot.
Yeah, unless they knew this was coming and they got some advanced books done. Otherwise, yeah. I agree with you guys. Both on the Chameleon front, I've never been a huge fan of Chameleon either, and the whole weekly thing, and just. I'm not feeling this run, and I want something different. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this going weekly now. So.
All right. Well, we're going to go into our last topic, the main topic of today, which is the Powerpuff Girls. I can't believe that's our main topic for today. I'm happy. It is all on Mike, and I'm very happy for it. But yeah, Powerpuff Girls have been cast. Chloe Bennet from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Dove Cameron from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Yana Perrault, who I believe is a Broadway actress,
mark? I think Yana was going to be in Hamilton before the pandemic.
Okay, yeah. They said she was also set to join Hamilton, but she's in Jagged Little Pill, which I believe is a pretty popular Broadway play as of recent. I'm actually like a little more interested in this show. Like before, I'm like, oh, Powerpuff Girls, you know, we need a live action. But I'm like, oh, this cast is really interesting. I'm a huge Dove Cameron fan. Chloe Bennett's really interesting, and yeah, I'm kind of all for it. I can't believe that I'm saying that, but I'm gonna at least see this pilot.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting way to go too. The 20-somethings disillusion about their childhood thing, and I love Chloe Bennet and Dove Cameron too. So I'm not familiar with Yana, but those two, it's like, okay, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reunion as superheroes. She goes from Daisy to Blossom. That's fine. It's all good. I'm all for it too. It should be fun, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm right there. I actually really like Dove Cameron's as an actress. I've watched a lot of her. I watched a lot of her stuff, like because of my daughter. Like I watched Liv and Maddie. I've watched all those episodes. I've watched Descendants. I watched all those movies. She was actually in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? She did a few episodes of those as well.
She was evil.
Yeah. And everything she does is really good. And I think she can play the parts pretty well. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Chloe Bennet, I thought she was great in that. You know, and when I saw that casting, I'm like, this is going to be kind of cool, you know? Didn't Dove Cameron play as Gwen Stacy too in that
she
cartoon?
voiced Gwen Stacy. She's done a lot. And honestly, if you
Or
follow her on
Spider Gwen,
Spider Gwen, yeah. If you follow her on social media, she's like really active there too, which I really appreciate. She is interactive. Also she's very like open about her sexuality. She's bisexual, so I think it'd be really cool. Maybe we get some, queer characters in Powerpuff Girls as well. I think that would be kind of cool if like an actual bisexual actress plays like a bisexual character, and CW does that all the time. So yeah, I think that'd be really awesome. And I think this is a show that kind of melds, and kind of what Mike was saying, like Dove Cameron's an actress kind of for like, younger kids, but then also she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it'd be interesting to see like what the target demo is going to be for this. Will it be for like me who grew up with the show, or is it going to be for like kids who are like Dove Cameron, or is it going to be people who really like Chloe Bennet from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, I think this could actually reach a lot of people if done right.
Absolutely. I think you're right, because it could be a total family show, because like right away my daughter's going to know, like she's like, oh wow, it's Mel from, Descendants, that's what she's going to, recognize her for. And so I think it's neat. And I can't wait to see like what other characters they're going to add into this. Yeah. And like, are they going to add the commissioner in there, and hope so. and then it's like what is truly the show going to be like? How are these three going to interact with each other? Like, is it going to be like a comical show? Is it going to be a more serious show? Are they going to be like a Charlie's Angels, but not as like, I don't know. It's going to be a weird thing. I think, it's could be a very unique show, and it could be very interesting. I hope it's just not cheesy.
Right.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Because I do see the concerns from the people saying like Charmed and Riverdale. I don't know who the producer for this show is. So yes, the network is important, but it also really has to do with the production team, and who's writing the show is going to be more of a determined factor of how the show is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point though. I'm sorry, I saw Charmed mention, and like Legacies is another that are completely different than their original series, and it's like, okay, you don't know what to expect really, but I kind of have hopes with these actors involved.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad they got people that we recognize in here to give it some curiosity for a lot of people, and because you got to do that cartoon some justice. You really do, because that's a show a lot of people recognize.
Yeah, I'll say, as far, has nothing to do with Powerpuff Girls, but I've been watching. Lisa and I've been watching the new Saved by the Bell on Peacock.
I heard like it's actually pretty solid for
because because it's completely different. It's not trying to be what Saved by the Bell was. It actually makes fun of. It's almost like Glee. It's a dark comedy satire of Saved by the Bell with Saved by the Bell characters in it. So like Slater is the gym teacher who drinks soup out of a thermos every day. It's like it's a weird kind of show, but it kind of works, and it's fun the way that they break down those tropes in the episode. So like two guys are fighting over a girl, and the another girl that's like new to the school, she's just like yells over to the girl, just pick one. Just what are you doing? It's just stupid stuff like that, and it's so if they can reinvent it and make it kind of cool and reach current modern audiences and not be cheesy, I think it could be really good.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We just got the comment. So who is Mojo Jojo?
Yeah, how they do that live action too. Yeah.
So yeah, that was all our topics for the week. So we're gonna actually pass it on to Brant. He has some shout outs from our Kickstarter.
Yeah, so we are doing these live shout outs from people that back the Kickstarter, and our first one for this week is Carl Kiesel on the street in back alleys in dark places no one dares. That was actually a suggested response, and he just went with it. So we love Carl Kiesel, and he's actually got a Kickstarter live right now. Impossible Jones 2 is on Kickstarter right now. If you guys want to go check it out, it looks like a lot of fun, and there's actually an homage to this show in that Kickstarter, which I think, Kat, you got the link to it.
Yeah, so I'll screen share Yeah. So that
And
was
then-
pretty cool. We thank him for that.
Yeah. And then I'll show the image that's an homage to us, which is kind of cool. But
I
yeah,
was going to show this is the
Oh,
page.
is it in there?
Homage.
Okay.
It's right there. Yeah.
Sweet. So if you see in that second panel, that's a play on our logo, and of course he asked permission to do that, and we're getting credit in the book and everything. But it's a really cool homage to Comic Book Weekly here. So thank you so much, Carl. We really appreciate it.
And
Thank
look
you.
how well this Kickstarter is already doing. It's been one day, and he's 2 backers away from 400. You could be maybe one of those 2 backers to get him to 400 by the end of the day.
Yeah,
but that's really cool how well the comic is doing.
It's funny. I was in the office this morning at around 9 o'clock this morning or so, and I walked into the other room to talk to Lisa, and I came back in, and he had gotten 4 backers and $60 in the minute that I walked out of the room.
Wow.
So yeah, it was doing really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you, Carl, and thank you for backing the Kickstarter, and congrats on the success of Impossible Jones.
Yeah,
and we should
good luck.
probably mention that next week we're going to do our first graphic novel review, which is his graphic novel, and pretty much in this section of our show. So after the news, we'll talk about the graphic novel and review it. So if you want to hear more about it before you back it, maybe you could hear our thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and that brings us to Chris with Under the Radar.
Under the radar. We are talking about books that we believe fly under the radar that came out last week. And this week we're going to start with, since Brent was talking, we're going to go with Kat. What was your under the radar book this week?
My under the radar was one I was very surprised by, because last week I was like, oh, I'm just going to get it. And that was America Chavez. This was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It did have some West Coast Avengers vibes. Her girlfriend was in it. Kate was in it for a little while. And then we actually get this backstory of her adopted family, how she was found, and her relationship with the family. And since it's like kind of a flashback and present day story, we are led to believe maybe the family had died or something, but the end of the issue is that the family is like in trouble, or there's some mystery behind the family. So I thought it was really interesting. I was like, cool, you're kind of bringing layers to America and grounding this character, which I thought was really important and hasn't been done. So I was pleasantly surprised by this one. I will be getting issue 2.
I got this on your recommendation when you were talking about it, and I actually really liked it as well. I did not think I was going to like this book when they announced it. And yeah, for all the reasons that you mentioned, I love seeing Kate there, the little nod to West Coast Avengers, which I loved. And I loved like this secret history of her background and stuff. It's like when the reporter asks her, like, you know, your family, and she talks about her family. No, not that family, the other family. And it's like, what? And that was really cool. And it, like you said, it added some layers that I wasn't aware of, because, you know, I didn't keep up with her story at all. But yeah, this was really fun. The art was really good. And I'll definitely be back for the next issue as well.
I'm glad you gave it a shot. I feel like out of everybody, I feel like you would have enjoyed it the most. So I'm glad you got to read it.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Mike, do you have an under the radar this week?
No, because all I read was DC, and there wasn't nothing like.
I wanted to make sure.
There was nothing that nobody already didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to make triple sure before we moved on. Brant, what was your under the radar?
Mine is King in Black, Wiccan and Hulkling.
I want to read that.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun tie-in, and it made sense. It's like they were. Totally forgot their names for a second. Teddy and Billy went on their honeymoon to a planet in the Shi'ar system, I think it was. Anyway, while they're on this planet, the giant symbiotic dragons attack the planet, and they have no defenses, so they have to, you know, postpone their honeymoon and leap into action. You have L'Oreal standing guard the whole time, so it was fun to see her again from Captain Marvel, and yeah. And so it was humorous, but you got to see their heroics involved as well. You got to see their romance, because they did get a little time together, and by the end they actually got L'Oreal gave them some time to be alone, and with their champagne robot, which Billy was, you know, fascinated with. So I thought it was a fun tie-in, and you know, it was much needed, because it's been very serious for Teddy. He hasn't had any downtime, and he got to spend a little time with Billy in the long run. So I liked it. So I was worried that it wasn't going to be as good as it was. So.
I wanted to like this more than I
did. Oh, you didn't like it as much? Okay. I had a feeling, yeah.
It was very Empire tied. It was very tied into Empire,
it was
which
very
obviously
tied in.
I wasn't really like into. And then I felt like it was very long. It was just a very long book. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, not one of my favorites, sadly, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. And there was a lot of humor in it, which I really appreciated. And I don't know a lot of, I mean, I obviously read Young Avengers, but I don't know a lot about Wiccan, honestly. I don't think he's shown up a whole lot. I didn't read a lot of whatever that series was with AIM. I think he was in that.
Oh, I didn't read that one either. But I agree. Wiccan's not a character that has been explored enough, or Teddy, I feel, besides Empire. But that didn't explore their character as much as more like big events surrounding them. So it'd be kind of, I would like to see a mini-series with them just, again,
absolutely.
having some coffee. They had champagne in this one, though.
They did have champagne. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That's why I liked it. It was just those down moments, downtime moments that they had in between battling symbiotic dragons and rescuing the Kree and all that.
All right, and then my under the radar book goes to Berserker, Keanu Reeves, issue number, I believe it was 1, right? Not 0.
It is 1.
It's 1.
For some reason, I don't know why I keep thinking 0. But Keanu Reeves writes a really good comic, very bloody, very graphic.
Did he write it, or did he co-write it, or was it just
he co-wrote it?
He co-wrote it? Okay, I thought he wrote it complete.
Matt can't help.
Matt
obviously.
can't.
Yeah.
It was good. I really enjoyed it. Very quick read, very violent, very bloody.
It
very out there.
It reminded me of Bloodshot meets Wolverine.
Yeah, a little bit. And also, if you played Cyberpunk, it kind of gives you the vibe of his character from Cyberpunk a little bit. But I thought it was good. The artwork was nice. And a lot of people were worried because everybody was hyping it up because it was Keanu Reeves. And I still think it was really well done.
I thought it was okay.
I said, well done. We'll see how issue 2 and 3 go.
I don't think it's my thing. That's all.
Because of the blood and the explode.
It's not just the blood. No. Yeah, it's not really that. It's just, like you said, it was such a quick read. There wasn't a whole lot to it. And I feel like I've read that story before. With a Wolverine or a Bloodshot, it's the only twist is the whole immortal thing, and however long he's been around, which is apparently forever.
Doesn't that sound familiar, Highlander?
Yeah, I mean, so that was an interesting twist of it that made it a little bit different, but yeah.
So that was all our under the radar books. I will pass it on now to Mike, where we will talk about our top 5 and top books.
That's right, guys. It's that big book time. There were some DC books that were released this past week that were pretty big. We got a lot of new number 1s. We got that Infinite Frontier issue 0. And once again, we're warning you that there are spoilers in case you have not read your books yet. But obviously, by weekend, we hope you did. Unless you did not get all your books like me. So here we go. We're going to talk about the first one. This was the big daddy of the week, and this was Infinite Frontier issue 0. A lot of things going on in this particular book.
Do we want to break it down? Because I feel like this is the type of book, there's so much that happened.
There was a lot. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about individual stories? Because I feel like a lot of them were kind of important to where things were going.
We could do that, or we could just bullet point everything and then just talk about what impact.
I think I still have my bullet points from work. So let me see if I still have them or not. I do. So if we want,
look at that, we got bullet points, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we want to start with the Wonder Woman stuff, which is that she was traveling, to die, and then she's like, "Nah, I'm good." So how did we feel about that?
I think. Well, here's my thing. I think it was a whole cop out because it's like issue 7 of Death Metal comes along, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be part of something great and fantastic," and then she has this chance to be basically. A watcher, basically, and then at the end she's like, "Oh, I don't want to watch. I want to be a part of it." And it was just so convenient. It was just so convenient for her to just leave, and that was it. So it kind of makes Death Metal issue 7 look kind of stupid at the end of the day. You know, because she's not
Yeah.
even gone for more than one issue, and
Plus-
she's back.
She gets a new coat, guys. Like she has
Oh,
this
that
fur coat now.
that coat, yeah.
Plus, we get introduced to Yara here. Nubia becomes the queen of the mascara, and her mom goes out and does what she was doing. So, what in the world is Wonder Woman supposed to be doing now?
Yeah,
So,
that's
She's
true.
gonna get
Yeah.
a new persona.
I guess.
I think she's just gonna be Wonder Woman. Honestly, Wonder Woman's not even dealing with that mascara that much, so I can understand. They're just probably just gonna be like, she's gonna do her superhero stuff. Nubia is gonna do the Themyscira stuff, which would be nice to see Themyscira. So in that way, I'm interested. Was a bit disappointed, but I will read the new volume of Wonder Woman to see where that's going. We actually have an interesting question for Octavia. What was better, Infinite Frontier or DC Rebirth?
DC Rebirth.
DC Rebirth.
Yeah,
They were
DC
both
Rebirth.
different. Rebirth got us out of New 52, and New Frontier is just kind of like showing us now the big, vast infinity of universes now.
But that's not even it. The way the story was written, it was really heartfelt. And when you look at Infinite Frontier, it's kind of structured the same way, as instead they brought Wonder Woman to see everything that was
Instead of
going
Wally,
on
yeah.
instead of Wally. But Wally, you could tell that he went through like hell. You know, Wonder Woman was just like, oh, you've been gone for not even, 2 weeks.
A second, yeah.
And it's just like, and here's what's going on. But there was nothing there that was just like, that pulled at the heartstrings. Like, Wally got to see everything that happened to him. It was just very, very powerful, like his family and everything else. And
It was
that's
personal.
what I loved about it. Yeah, exactly. And this didn't have that. This was just like, almost like a glorified previous book of what's to come.
But I thought
yeah.
Put the words right out of my head. That's exactly
It could have been a free comic book day book.
But it was flowed nicely.
Yeah, it was structured better than a free comic book day. Because one thing I liked was like, oh, here's some random stories. It did, because of the Wonder Woman story, it was connected.
There was a through line,
Right.
So going into the next topic here, Black Adam, does he have a new name? Shazam.
Oh my goodness.
God.
What was that?
Really?
That makes me so worried for Justice League.
Yeah, what is that? I don't understand
And he kept
why
on
they're doing
pushing
that.
it. He kept on pushing it. He's like, Shazam. No, it's Adam. No, Shazam. And I'm like, shut up. Stop saying it. I'm like, just stop.
Oh,
It
man.
was just a bad joke that just kept going and going. And
Yeah,
the artwork was great, but that story,
I
man.
feel like that story is going to be a bad show.
But don't you think there could have been something better for Justice League, though? Like for a new Justice League book that he's taking over, you think it could have been something better than that?
No.
Yeah, and that comes out soon, right? Like
Next week.
Next week, right? Yeah. So it's I agree. It's like it could have been a little bit more creative than that. I don't get it unless there's some reason. Like did Billy and Black Adam combine?
They did
or
the fusion dance
now
from
or
Dragon
something?
Ball Z. So there you go. Now they're fused.
Oh no! Not excited for that, but had to mention it. There's actually a lot of Batman talks. We're gonna go into the Batman stuff from here. So Bane was Jokerized. It looks like he was left to die, which is kind of crazy. He was announced that he was dead. Some little tidbits about Barbara is that she's kind of Oracle, kind of Batgirl, so she'll be Batgirl when she needs to be, but she's pretty much giving the cape. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm like, because any writer who wants to write her as Batgirl can do so, and any writer who wants to write her as Oracle can do so. And then all of Stephanie, every fan's happy. Thank you.
Excellent.
I was very happy.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Yeah,
Best
absolutely.
of both worlds. Absolutely.
And and there was that little nod to Birds of Prey. Was that in?
Yep.
That was in this. Yeah.
There was so much Batman between 106 and 2 parts of Batman in this Infinite Frontier storyline. But it did give you like little tidbits of like the Magistrate and all that other stuff and the new Scarecrow. And it just makes you feel like, Batman obviously is going to continue where it's at and where it's going to shine. Like that story, anything that was going on in Batman there was just really good.
Yeah, I will say I did appreciate the continuity between like Suicide Squad, Batman, Infinite Frontier, all these things tied together, and they tied to future state. So it made it seem like you read that for a reason instead of just, it was this what if story. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, Batman was great, and I'm very curious. What's interesting about the Bane section of that is like it kind of is like a I hate saying this, and I'm sure this wasn't the reason, but I'm just gonna word it this way. But it was kind of like a middle finger to what Tom King kind of did, because like that was his big story was Bane, and he's like, "No, we're just gonna kill him off just like that."
And it wasn't. Sorry, Kat, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, but it was just like, he's just dead. Like there was nothing to lead up to it. It's just he's all jokerized and dead. And I'm just like, oh, you don't even get to see how he dies, or it just who cares? Bane's dead. He's gone. He'll be back though, some way or another.
Oh yeah. And then you had Grifter show up, and then Grifter showed up after that, and it was like, oh, Grifter. Who cares about Bane? Move on to Grifter.
Yeah, I hope we get to see more of that. So another thing here, we'll talk about the Alan Scott story. I love this story. So what happened here was that Alan Scott's queerness was put into continuity, and the way I have like a larger conversation to say about this, because I feel like a lot of people in our comic book space will be like, and I wrote an article about this on Newsarama, but it hasn't been posted yet, but it's why have you turned my favorite character gay? And it's just like, you can't A, turn anybody gay, but B, I think this was such a beautiful way to craft someone's history and show the queerness was always there. And I love that. And obviously, because someone who was queer was writing it. And it's interesting because there was just a poll that was released like a week or two ago, where we're seeing every generation have more queer people. And it's not because, there are more queer people. It's just more people are allowed to be open about their queerness. So I thought it was a really interesting thing that's kind of being connected. And like this guy from the 1940s is literally now allowed to be open about his queerness. And I thought it was written really beautifully. And I can't wait to see more of that and see more of his kids too.
This was done excellent compared to what we got with X-Men. I think this was the story that should have been told in X-Men with a different character, or even with the same character, but at least this one, it made sense. It worked. I thought this was one of my top 3 favorite in the entire book. Honestly,
me too. It was my favorite too, for sure.
I just love how the kids embraced it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, just say it, Dad. And you could see the reservation and worried about what his kids were going to think, and it was a very touching and emotional moment. And it shows you though that you should be open. You should not. We live in a society today where you should not be ashamed, and we need to accept that. And don't be afraid of what other people are going to think. Be you, and that really kind of showed that. And so I like that scene in that book.
Yeah,
and the kids exist. So
the kids exist, and like you guys said, it was beautiful the way that they embraced him, and just especially, is her name Jade?
Jade and Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian. Yeah, and Jade was just like, oh, you've been holding on to this for so long, and just it's like it was this nice release for him, and being able to be honest with his kids, and it was just a beautiful moment all around. Yeah.
Yep.
And also, Obsidian's actually a gay character, which is interesting too. So I thought that was an interesting connection. But yeah, going back.
And it's like he knew too, right? He was just telling him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, just say it, Dad. Just say it. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then also, like, going back to what Chris was saying, like the opposite of what Iceman did and this did. And obviously there's a lot of reasons like why this was better than Iceman, but it dug into the history. But also I really believe because a queer writer wrote it. Like, I don't think there's a lot of opportunities for queer writers to like write their own stories. So like the difference of like Bendis, again, I do believe that people that don't come from that background should be allowed to write different stories, but you have to do research and you have to like talk to people. And from that, it didn't really feel like he did the research or talked to anybody who was queer, because there was just a lot of things that didn't line up. But here, so a bisexual writer writing this is just like, oh, you could feel like this is someone part of the community writing something that they might have gone through or can feel. And I think that was also a big difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
So moving into Red X, I feel like wasn't a huge one, just that he was introduced.
It was a one-page thing, right?
Yeah, so
I didn't even care about the Red X part though, but what I liked is just how the kids were all excited about going to Teen Titans Tower.
That's what I liked.
And I love the page. Yeah, you see Red X grabbing his little costume, but I liked seeing the tower and how extravagant they made the tower. And you're seeing it from the point of view of those kids' eyes for the first time. And it's like, holy cow, this thing is huge, you know?
Yeah, and it's a small thing, and probably nobody paid attention to it, but it's like I appreciated the structure of the tower because you get so many complaints like how could that T stand like that? But the way they structured it made it sense. It was like, okay, that could actually be a stable foundation there. So,
right.
But yeah, no, I was excited about the way that they were approaching it too. It felt, I don't know, it just felt cool and fun, and I couldn't wait. I want to read it. So.
Next up, I gotta go to Chris on this one. We have the Superman John Kent story. He's gonna be dark, maybe.
He's gonna possibly be dark. Spectre telling Wonder Woman, "There's something bad in Metropolis." And she's looking at the monster. She's like, "The monster?" He's like, "No, that one." And it turns to John Kent. And he's like, when he's trying to be like his dad, but in the future, I fear he's gonna become a tyrant under the S. And it's like, whoa.
They're just doing everything with Superboy, aren't they?
I mean, it makes sense, though. Think about what John has gone through. I mean, not the Super Son stuff, not when he was first introduced, but I mean, being captured and tortured by Ultraman for X amount of years.
Yeah.
And then is also when he was traveling around with Jor-El and all the things Jor-El did to him. And then after the fact, and Lord knows I haven't read Legion of Superheroes, whatever he discovered in Legion of Superheroes, I like the idea of this actually being like a conflicted.
And his mom walking in on him in the shower, and that would traumatize anyone.
That changes it all.
That's where the villainy just started right there. Mom came.
Oh
no! I'm evil. No, I'm interested because I think that obviously he's not going to become a tyrant, but it's going to be interesting. I would love to. This is going to be in the Superman book, or is this in the action? One or the other. I don't know which one it's going to be.
I don't know what the difference is.
It wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. I don't think
it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
no.
I'm interested in seeing what happens with John and how this. Will he become a tyrant or will he be, Superman still?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, you go. Go.
I was just going to say, I think it just shows that they have absolutely no idea what to do with John Kent.
Exactly. They threw him in, and now they have no clue what they want to do from this point onward.
Yeah.
Want to give a shout out to Twitch. Got to get ready to work. I'll watch the rest at work. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good luck at work.
Yeah.
And remember, John Kent is not evil. We just don't know what to do with John anymore.
I don't know if I'm into an evil John. Like, I feel like that's just what else do we do with John, right? He's been a kid. It's like now he teamed up with Damian. We aged him up.
Oh yeah, Damian's influence. I forgot about that.
Now we're gonna make him evil. But wasn't he once evil when Peter J. Tomasi wrote him for a little bit? Remember that story?
Was he?
Was he?
Yeah, remember he was wearing that. He had that black stuff around him or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. So that was that. But I think I'm going to stay away from that until people say this was really good, and then I'll say, okay, I'll pick it up. So
that's where I
will be headlong in it because Bendis is off Superman, so I'm going to be reading Superman.
Yeah, try it. Yeah,
of course.
You'll be the one telling us.
Yeah,
Twitch,
exactly.
Twitch says night shift at a state mental hospital.
Oh man,
I know
good luck.
People that should be there.
Good luck. So going into the next topic, which is Roy has officially returned. I'm curious about this one because how is it going to relate to other stories? Will it be a Teen Titans? Is Green Arrow getting his own book? I have a feeling Green Arrow is going to get his own book at some point.
But do you not know like
the story at first, and then I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah.
But do you not wonder like why is he alive and how did he come back alive?
I think the whole Black Lantern stuff, maybe? Question mark. That was the last time we saw him, and he was kind of alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of alive.
Kind of alive.
Kind of
but
alive.
Like he's completely normal now, or before he was just like
Yeah, he was
back
zombified.
alive
Yeah.
because he was zombified, right?
I hope
Yeah.
that's the mystery. I hope they like dig into that. Like, oh, we don't know how he like that will be part of the story, hopefully.
It'd be funny if they just didn't ever address it and just said because comics. You know?
Or you could just say because Lazarus Pit.
I think actually he was back in another book too. It was one of the other one shots, but I don't remember how. But it was one of the death metal one shots. All right, going into the next thing here, which is the second and last thing we'll talk about, which is the Wally West is going to be the Flash. It seems like because Barry is going to be doing some multiverse stuff. Yeah, hopefully it's good, man.
I'm happy. My Wally, my Flash is back as the Flash again.
I'm curious if it's going to actually be in the Flash book because that hasn't happened yet.
I think it is.
I think it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I did my top 10 most anticipated. Today it dropped, but I recorded it yesterday, and I remember seeing the book, and it shows Wally that is in that book.
Yeah, in the new issue. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, how long does it stick for?
Right. That's my concern because it's like Wally's bounced around, done this and that. Ever since he's come back, it's just like. Again, it's like John Kent. They really don't know what to do with him, so it's like, oh well, let's just make him Flash again.
But where's Barry going? Barry's just going to disappear.
He's going to probably get his own book with that multiverse stuff.
I loved Wally as Flash. That was my Flash when I did read him. So it's like, okay, if they can do that justice, but it's like I just don't know with everything that's happened to him how he navigates that in this book. So hopefully it'll be good though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to be happy at least like he is back, Wally, and he's not going to be evil. And this is what people have been wanting. So hopefully all the Flash fans are happy while he is in there, right? So see what happens.
So the last tidbit of the book was Darkseid's ending, and he mentions like it was very connected to the Mr. Miracle stuff, whereas Darkseid is the end or whatever that note was. So he just pretty much says like, "Oh, I'm gonna end the universe" or whatever. So I think it's interesting that they're doing something universe big again, but we just had that event. I was like, oh, do I care?
It's like it's gonna be a big everyone versus Darkseid event, probably.
Yeah, I thought the visual of it was really cool.
Yes.
So I mean that was nice. I thought it was a little on the nose them calling the Earth that Earth Omega Earth, considering he shoots Omega beams. It was like okay, but I share your guys' concerns about another big major event against Darkseid.
And like, did he just like kill them? Like it was just like he.
I mean, it looked like he did.
It looked like
he used his black whatever it was that he was using, his black magic.
Yeah,
and just like sucked the souls out of them, and they're all dead.
Yeah, and, so it's like if Wonder Woman hadn't left, she'd be dead too.
Be dead too.
Yeah, that's just very convenient, isn't it?
Very.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So overall, the book was pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, there was a lot to grab onto there. It was a lot of things that you want to see more of, and at least try. So
only thing is, I would like to have had a story with Superman. I appreciate the John Kent stuff. I mean, we had several Batman. We could have had one about Clark to know where
we needed all of the Batman.
I mean, then we could have. I don't know. I wish we would have gotten something. I mean, we're going to see where Superman goes next, but I would have liked something. Yeah,
that's the thing. Do any of us really know where Superman left off? Because none of us were reading.
I stopped reading when Bendis was writing it, and I just couldn't take it anymore. That's why
that's
I
what
really
I'm
would like a
saying.
little catch up.
So it's like beyond the events and everything. It's like where did he leave it? So I don't know. Maybe that would answer your question as to why he wasn't in there. Is all I'm saying.
Maybe. Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it was a solid book for that one. But I hope you guys enjoyed the deep dive because it was such a big book.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that was Infinite Frontier issue 0. So let's talk about a Scott Snyder's books, Noctura,
something like that.
Issue 1. I did manage to read this book, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a very interesting story about how the world becomes dark and these people or animals become shades, and they run in this world where they constantly have to shine light to survive. And our main character, what's her name?
Oh
Val?
God, I don't remember.
Val
Oh, man.
Riggs. Val
Yeah,
Riggs, I think.
Val Riggs. Yeah, you're right. M was the guy, her brother.
M was her brother.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel, I think his name was. And I love how she drives this 18-wheeler to transport people and things to places, and that's how they make a living. And it was just an interesting story. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of it, you wind up finding out that there's this old man that's supposedly behind everything that has gone wrong in the world today. But everything in between it was kind of emotional and very interesting to see where Val came from, like how she was once blind when she was a little girl and she had a surgery, and it was just this temporary thing until the real world came back to her again. Just really well written book. And Tony S. Daniels' artwork, I always forget sometimes how good his artwork is, and I thought it was phenomenal here as well. Great story.
Yeah, it felt like the opening scene of a movie for me, and I appreciated that. I appreciated the character work and learning that she was blind and all that stuff. I agree that really tied into this well, and her fear that the dark would come back, and it actually did. There's a lot of poetic stuff going on in this book, and visually, it's like when I first saw it, it's like, okay, this kind of looks like a Top Cow book or something. It was
right.
That kind of level, and but yeah, I really enjoyed the story. It was pretty rich. It hooked me. I'm invested in Val and her brother because obviously he's infected now, and she's trying to figure out how to cure him, and he is too. And then that whole twist with the old guy who apparently blew up the sun, and like, how is this all happening? Why are these where does this infection come from and all that stuff? It was very very strong first issue, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a way to do a first issue because it was character driven. It gave us just enough about the past to understand the present. There was twists and turns in it. The artwork was really good. This is some of the best Scott Snyder's work in a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, great story. I mean, I was blown away by it. I really enjoyed it. I was like, at first I was kind of like, what is this? I mean, it looked cool, but to him, to get everything there, to get good character development, and it was just a page turner, and you felt vested into the world. It was just a nice balance, and it kept you guessing with this mystery. Just everything about it, man. It was just an awesome book. So
especially when you compare it to his other book, which is Undiscovered Country, I feel like it's like he did everything right here. Like Undiscovered Country was such a big world that was never explained, and this one's like you had one character to follow, so it made it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it shows you. I'd rather have one character or two characters get attached to those characters instead of introducing 20 or 15 characters. Because in an independent book, it's hard to do that. It's because when it comes to, say, Marvel or DC, like, you basically know who Superman is or Spider-Man is, and those characters already, so it's easy to latch on to their supporting cast and things like that. But when you have a new independent book, you don't know the characters, artwork's different, so you're not familiar with faces, supporting characters, you get all introduced to that at once, it can be overwhelming for some readers.
Yeah, I think anytime you have an ensemble cast, it's there's a delicate balance to be made between telling your story and diving into those characters and developing them. And like with Undiscovered Country, it was they were all thrown into this thing in the middle of it, and you didn't get time to get to know the characters. And as the story went on, there wasn't a whole lot of development of those characters, at least as far as I read it, going forward. So it's like you gotta. I don't know. It's really hard to find that balance, and sometimes it just doesn't quite, hit the mark. So
yeah, I agree, 100%. All right, so let's move on to our number 5. Now, again, I don't have a top 5, so I just read DC books, and I was like, it wouldn't be fair to put these books in the top 5 for me. So, I would tell you though, my number 1 would be Noctera, if there was a number 1 book for me, because that's set apart for any book that I read.
Would Infinite Frontier be on your top 5?
Maybe, I don't know.
You got.
I had so many books that I had to read, and I didn't get a chance to read them. You know, so I did like Infinite Frontier. I don't know if it would be in my top 5 though. So it might be a little bit higher though. But let's go on to the number 5 book. So Brant, what was your number 5?
Mine was Power Pack number 4.
So you're gonna say Powerpuff Girls?
No, yeah, Powerpuff Girls. Mine was Powerpuff Girls. You know, I'm already sold. No, Power Pack number 4. This is the penultimate issue, right, Kat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was all in Jack's perspective, and I like the way that it was framed. Where at first you think he's like recording this, as a YouTuber or whatever, live stream. You know, he's plugging his social media handles and everything, and then he reveals that it's like, but I can't actually do this because Alex tells me it'll, it's good to keep our secret identities, and he's usually right about everything. So I'm just kind of pretending that this is what I'm doing. So I thought that was fun. I thought it was a fun way to exhibit his personality a little bit, and it showed that he wasn't just always just a fun loving. He actually had some insight and some intelligence, and the way he put things together. And there was some interesting stuff going on with the anger that poured into them from the wizard, and especially with Katie, who kind of
kill someone.
Yeah, she kind of went dark there for a minute, and it was she wanted to kill someone. Actually, didn't care where she was shooting her energy and all that stuff, and so I thought that was fun. And then you had some comical moments when Wolverine came in, the Professor Brucey Mansworth or whatever, and it was just some fun stuff. I enjoyed the issue. It wasn't the strongest issue of the series, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one, and I said last week I'm not a huge Jack fan, but I really feel like each issue has done a really beautiful job at showing every character has a different voice, and they all have layers to each other. And I like the emotional moments with Jack, where we get to even see him talk to Katie and be the big brother. And I love the Wolverine ending. We haven't really seen the XMen and other properties, mesh like that in a while. So it was nice to see Wolverine take a break from Krakoa and go over there. Julie's still alive, so that also was a plus. But yeah, it's just a super well balanced book, and this is a true under the radar book as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
All right. So, Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Noctera, so we already talked about it.
All right. Chris, what was yours?
My under the radar book, Berserker number 1.
All right, cool. All right, so we will move on. Let's talk about Suicide Squad. We actually all read this book, which is pretty cool. So what'd you guys think of it?
I'm glad you guys warned me that Superboy was in it. That's for sure. I was actually able to pick up a copy.
See, I'm not glad. I'm not glad we did, because that was that was the detriment of, not the detriment. I like this book, but why this was a little lower for me is that everything that was cool about this book was already spoiled. So we knew Talon was going to be in it. We knew that Superboy was going to be in it. And if those were surprises, this would have been maybe in my top 5. But still, it was a good book. I just feel like there wasn't a lot of surprises. Like, okay, cool, I knew all that.
Yeah, I wanted it to be. Yeah, I did like it. I liked it. I'll say that. It's not my top 5, but I did enjoy the book. Suicide Squad's such a hard book for me to get into sometimes, but I did like the resistance from Flag, and how she turned on him and making him watch it. I like that it's connected to Future State. It makes that a worthwhile read. And Superboy, it's like, okay, this is interesting. Are they going to go that route? Is it going to divert from that? I have, obviously, as dark as Future State went, it has to divert somewhere, right, or diverge. So I thought it was an interesting first issue, and I'll keep reading for now. But it didn't blow me away or anything.
I'm reading it until after the Teen Titans crossover, which now I understand why they're doing it. I feel like I would have dropped this book after issue 1 if it wasn't for that crossover.
If Superboy leaves the team and goes to the Teen Titans after this event, probably that.
I'm sure he's not, because that's after 3 issues. That would be so soon.
Yeah.
That's
true.
So with Future State, it was like the ultimate plan that she put forth in this, the anti-Justice League, basically. That's what Future State was, and he was leading the team. So if that's where they're going, it's going to be a long road for him.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, fair enough. I'll stick around because I love Connor, so I'll stick around for this.
After reading the Suicide Squad that we just had, it's going to be definitely tough to beat what Tom Taylor did in such a short time that he had that title, and it definitely had potential going forward if he continued writing it. This story, like Kat said, there was no surprises. We all know who was going to be on this team. And I wish it wasn't spoiled, because this would have been a much more impactful book. Like, part of the fun sometimes is not knowing who's on the roster, right? So if you sat there, think about reading this book and going, holy shit, that's Talon. And then, oh my God, there's Superboy in there also? Like, think about the impact it would have on you the first time if you didn't know. Right,
it would have been in my top 5 because it would have been like, wow, that's so cool.
So
like,
you make the key points, right? Yeah. You make key points. This is a different type of Suicide Squad, though. Yeah, so that is cool, and I do like how they kind of paid tribute to the past teams. There was that page in there where they showed like the original Suicide Squad. Then Harley Quinn was on there, and then there was even Tom Taylor's Suicide Squad that was in there too, where they just showed brief images of them. So I like how they did manage to play that tribute there as well. So this is a type of book where we'll wait and see how it goes.
Yeah,
for me,
pretty much. Yeah.
All right. So next book is, I'm so mad that I get a chance to read this. This is Firepower issue 9. This is the continuation where they actually were falling out of the plane.
There's a really big cliffhanger in this book that kind of blew my mind.
Did it really? I expected it, but okay.
I don't know. It's not surprising with what Kirkman has done, but it makes the story really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll give you that for sure. It was good. I love the way that he handled him falling out of the plane and trying to figure out how to land.
It was very Last Airbender, like I said. It was very like using the fire to.
Yeah, and there was one moment. It was a double splash page where everything's flashing before him, and he's just kind of resigned himself, and then he's like, "No, boom, 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 boom." So I appreciated that. I love the art, and then it was like a large part of that whole thing was silent. So it was a very quick read again. But
definitely read this one first, Mike, because it is very quick. It's not a long read, and that cliffhanger changes stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into and spoil it for you or anything, but it's interesting where he ends up, where his whole family ends up, and what that cliffhanger is. So
that's cool. Yeah, always. Firepower is a quick read. It always is, but it's always interesting.
This was quicker than usual.
This was even quicker. Yeah.
Well, I guess when you're falling from a plane, there's not too much you can talk about, right?
Yeah,
the action was great. Like, at first, I thought it was only going to be that. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a middle ground book, but then it picks up really well. It did a really good job at utilizing its page count, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, okay, this fell just outside of my top 5. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, good. All right, so let's move on to number 4. So, Chris, what was your number 4?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, all right. And Kat, what was yours?
Infinite Frontier. We already talked about it.
And Brent?
King in Black, Wiccan, and Halton. We already talked about
Talked about that, too. All right. So that takes us forward to Chris's most anticipated book of the week.
I think I'm glad I didn't read it from what I'm seeing.
This is Crime Syndicate issue 1.
I liked it.
No.
Well, I mean, that you love the Crime Syndicate.
I love it.
That's the difference.
Great. Yeah. I love how they kind of gave like a little origin to Ultraman when he was younger. He ended up killing the president. That was really funny. I like that. And then we come into Star. We see a little bit of Superman, a little bit of Superwoman. I love how it gave us a little bit of every member of the Crime Syndicate doing whatever. And then Starro attacks and Ultraman. I almost said Superman. Ultraman's like, oh, a challenge. Superwoman's like, oh, another challenge. And then in the background, you just have Night Owl in Gotham doing his own thing, not really caring what's going on, but at the same time, scheming something with what's going on. And the
Well,
next
he had the talons too, so he basically embraced the whole Court of Owls thing. Yeah.
Exactly. He did the opposite of Batman. He embraced it instead. Yeah. And I love how next issue we're going to have Ultraman versus Superwoman because Ultraman gets attached to a Starro. Good art. I'm really interested. I'm invested in this story.
No.
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 That's all I'm supposed to say. Just no.
Okay.
Okay, so coming from a person, and you guys know me forever, the first time I ever read really Crime Syndicate was what we talked about last week, was Forever Evil.
Yeah.
So seeing how they were there will never, ever top how evil they were. Yeah. Like, here, it's like, for me, it was like a joke. And the artwork doesn't fit, to me, how evil they should be. You know? I don't know. I just couldn't get into the story. I found it that was very forgettable. And then I look at myself in the long run. I know this is a limited series going, I could be reading other books that are ongoing, and this is just going to end in so many issues. So do I need to invest my money into this one? You know,
I have a question for Brant now, because last week I was hearing a lot of shit from the comments that I was picking up America Chavez. Which one was better, Crime Syndicate or America Chavez?
Oh, America Chavez, by far for me. I'm more on the side of Mike. I wasn't feeling this at all. The whole upbringing of this version of Clark and the whole bunch of freeloaders thing, just, I don't know. It just felt so comical and a little cheesy for me. And I agree. I loved their representation of Forever Evil. And of course, I've seen them in other places before, and I just didn't like the way they were handled here. I agree with your point about the art too, Mike. It just didn't fit for me. Right. But, you know, none of us are as huge of fans of the Crime Syndicate as you are either, Chris.
Yeah, exactly, Chris.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Look, it's not a book for everyone.
Yeah.
I just like it because I enjoy reading the Crime Syndicate at times, but story can go 60 ways sideways by the time we get to the middle of the arc. I'm invested in just seeing what Starro is going to do because this is an alternate universe, so...
Yeah, that's another thing. It was Starro again. It's like, man, I don't want to see Starro again.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So we'll see what happens. Chris, you'll just have to keep us posted when it comes
if it stays in my top 5, yeah, definitely.
Crime Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the next book is King in Black, Quantum vs. Carnage. So I don't care if you guys spoil this one for me because all it seems like it's been just this one big, huge fight for the most part.
It's so disappointing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, really? I thought you were
it
joking
is just
at first.
No,
it's been disdisappointing. And it ends on a cliffhanger. And it's just like, where the hell is this going to continue? It ends with, like, Mary Jane's not Carnage anymore, but she's still controlled by Null. It's like, yeah, because King in Black is going to dive into that. We're literally just not going to see that story continued.
So
and it's
how
really repetitive.
How could she be controlled by Null if she's not possessed by some type of symbiote anymore?
She must still have some of the Carnage in her.
Or it was something like Null wanted Gwen's suit too, and somehow he was trying to, weasel his way into her suit or something. It was weird. I didn't quite understand it either, but somehow he was trying to connect to her suit and wanted her power as well. And she was trying to fight it or something. It was,
it's very confusing.
The things that were like emotionally interesting, like they didn't dive into it enough. Like there was a lot of interesting points of like, well, you made Peter the way he was. I'm like Peter. You're a horrible friend. And it's like, these are really all interesting points. And it was all kind of surface level. And that should have been dug into in these 3 issues.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like they threw in that line about like, this just brings out your base feeling. So she actually is feeling these things and it's just amplified. So it at least illuminated to Gwen how MJ is actually feeling about things to some degree.
Not that it'll go anywhere.
Not that it'll go anywhere, but at least, that. But yeah, it bummed me out that it was like a cliffhanger, and it's like, okay, so what happens now? So yeah, I don't know.
You'll never know because
there's
that's
no
it.
ongoing book.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's again, King of Black's not going to talk about it. Maybe we'll get a Spider-Gwen book, but who knows? It'll be the same creative team and what they're going to dive into.
Yeah.
Disappointing. The art was cool though. There were some good rock and roll moments in it.
That's what that book had going for it, though. Is the artwork.
Yeah, they actually had a. It was this issue, right? They had a music off.
And I'm like, that was kind of cool.
So MJ had like a symbiote guitar, and Gwen had the drums, and they were battling. It's like, okay, but it was a little. I mean, there was, like you said, Kat, there were threads that they planted here that could have been really explored and been a really interesting story.
Great for this, then.
Yeah,
it didn't have the time to delve into it properly.
Right. Or even maybe like, who knows? Maybe it was like the editors of King and Black said you had to like deal with these beats, and who knows? Yeah,
maybe.
All right, so let's move on to our number 3. So, Kat, what was your number 3?
Firepower. We already talked about it.
All right. And Chris, what was yours?
My number 3 was Batman 106. I'm so happy that I actually could jump into a book that's not number 1. That is a new story arc. I have one question. Who the hell is White Ghost?
Ghostmaker?
Ghostmaker.
Yeah, whoever.
He is Batman's friend. They were villains.
It's Batman's frenemy.
Yeah, who became a friend really quickly. And that's it.
It was this. Yeah, It was this whole storyline where they were trained together, and Ghostmaker came to Gotham because he thought he could do Gotham better than Batman, and they fought. Of course, and he almost killed Harley and Clown Hunter, and then he was like, "Oh no,
Harley in this issue." Okay.
Yeah. So then Batman's like, we can do this together. We can be friends." And then they teamed up, and now they're.
It was kind of a hallmark moment, but
said we can be friends.
It's friends.
Like basically,
it's like, since there's no Damian now, this is like his sidekick
or Alfred.
But they're Alfred. They're like equals, and then obviously
Bruce is lonely,
right? And obviously Oracle or Barbara is actually. Which was Alfred, or Lucius Fox, and now she takes place of that. And I think she's perfect where she's at right now, working with Batman.
You know what's interesting? So I interviewed James about like the what's gonna happen in Batman, and he said like Oracle is gonna be the middle of every single Batman book. So it's gonna be Batman, Nightwing, the Joker book, and she's gonna obviously have a bigger story because of it.
The brains, like she was before.
She is, but it's gonna bring a bigger story for her. So it's gonna she's gonna have a huge story.
Yeah, I think that's better than having Alfred on the computer. Honestly, I would love to see them bring Alfred back. Now, one question: what happened to Damian? Damian just left.
He
quit.
He quit. Okay, so it was a lot leading up to it. He obviously saw Alfred killed before him, and that's kind of where it started, right? And then he led the Titans, and he did things really wrong there. Batman chewed him out for it, and he decided he didn't want to do things Batman's way anymore, so he left.
He ripped off the R, threw it on the ground, and said, "Fuck you, Dad," and I'm going to just leave. And he's just like, "I'm out of here," and that's it. And now he's wearing like in this Batman that wraparound cover. He's wearing like a gray costume now.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay,
so it's leading to the solo series.
Which come out in a few weeks.
Yeah, I did love how Talia just put him in his place, though. It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that.
I really like that backstory. I like again that all the Batman stories are connected. I think that's so cool. And I'm looking forward to Robin. I'm actually pretty excited for that one.
I like the way they redid Scarecrow also. I like that they took some pointers from the game. They took some pointers from the game with the syringes on the hands, the mask. Also,
that's exactly what I said when I saw it. It's like, oh, this is from the Arkham games. Yeah.
Yes, it was so good. I love how they did him in this book. Can't wait.
This is a good setup issue.
I think that's cool because it's like it's about time that you give him like an updated look, right? He's kind of stayed the same all these years, so it's like it makes sense to make him look really scary.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about this issue was, well, first, I don't like Ghostmaker, but even though I appreciate the tie-in to Future State, the whole Magistrate stuff bored the crap out of me.
Didn't he look like
Yeah,
Steve Jobs?
He was definitely Steve
That was
Jobs.
the stuff with the mayor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the mayor stuff. I don't know. We'll see where that builds, but I like the superhero stuff more. I liked Harley.
Yeah.
She was cool in this
The
too.
art was a little bit sketchy at times for me. I liked it, but I
love the shot of Barbara. That was a really good panel.
I like the artwork in this one.
I did too.
I have no problems with it.
Not bad. No, there was just certain panels that kind of threw me off a little bit. I'm trying to find Barbara since I have the book.
I like this artist more than I like March, who's doing the Joker book. So this one's a little bit more fluid. No.
Yeah, this one is George Jimenez. That's who does
Jorge,
the artwork on this one.
I'm gonna end up
Jorge,
with
sorry.
Batman books in single issue format again. I tell you.
No, it's a good time to be a Batman fan for sure.
Yeah.
That's the Robin story. I'm trying to find the panel with Barbara. Damn it.
All right.
It might have been an Infinite Frontier, Chris. Because
maybe it was.
It was the same one.
Yeah, it was that one where she was eating the chips. Yeah.
I
really
love
like
her.
that.
I love her outfit too. I don't know.
Yeah, just everything about that scene, the way she's sitting on the desk and everything. It was just a nice scene.
I love it.
All right. So let's move forward. We're going to talk about our number 2 now.
Did you not go?
3. Okay, sorry,
we already talked about it though. It's Noctera.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go on to our number 2 because Batman was next to talk about anyway. So we're going to go to number 2. I'll start with you, Brent.
Runaways was it 34? This was a fun issue. The mutants had come to take Molly because they had gotten a distress call, and they're like arguing against them, saying, "No, I didn't call. I just filled out a form about more information or whatever." And it turns out like there was somebody else that was kind of luring them into a trap that put the call out. And so the XMen, which was Wolverine. Is it Pixie? Is that her name?
Yeah, Pixie. Yeah.
Pixie, and I don't remember who else was with them.
Wolverine.
But
that's it. Right?
It was just the 2 of them?
Yeah, it was just the 2 of them.
Okay, I thought there was a third, but yeah. So they team up with the Runaways to try to figure out what's going on. They get, taken into this dark thing and everything. But the fun stuff was like, okay, there was a scene where Wolverine had Molly on his shoulder, and she switched it around and like picked him up on her shoulder and just walked around with him, which I thought was fun.
That panel.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's in my top 5 panels.
It almost made mine. Yeah, it almost made mine. But and then there was some fun stuff with Pixie and Nico, which ended on there's some competition for Carolina there.
So someone actually gave their theory, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That the demon person who kind of controls Nico's magic is maybe fully controlling her now, because Nico's not going to cheat on Carolina, but that last panel sure looked like something.
Yeah, it definitely did. There was very little space in between the 2 of them, yes. But it was another fun issue of Runaways, and it was escalating the storyline a little bit. And you didn't see Caroline in this issue. She's obviously still sick or something.
I definitely missed my girl Kay, but she's tired. She's sleepy. She's really sick. So I understand. But at the same time, this was like very classic Runaways, because there's always Runaways as this very side franchise of Marvel. Sometimes they'll randomly team up with heroes, and it'll just be like exactly like this. Like Wolverine shows up and Pixie shows up. And I really liked it. And it tied into Krakoa pretty well. But yeah, I agree. I like Nico and Pixie a lot, because Pixie's like talking about information to Nico. And Nico's like, hold up, we don't even know each other. How do you know this? And that she name drops Julie, which is not good on her part. But yeah, it was a really fun issue. And I love Runaways. So good.
Yeah, so good.
All right. So that was your number 2. Chris, what was yours?
Crime Syndicate.
Cool.
Cat?
Mine was Power Pack, where we talked about it. That was hard, guys. I have Runaways and Power Pack. What the hell was going to be number 1?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I wonder.
All right. So that's where we're moving on to right now is our number 1. So Cat.
It was Runaways issue 34.
I'm shocked It's Runaways. No.
There's very few books that will always be number one, and Runaways is just one of
It's
those
like always
books.
there, yeah.
This is so good.
And what was yours, Chris?
Infinite Frontier 0.
All right. And Brant.
Mine is going to be surprising, and it's because it surprised me, America Chavez.
I was gonna
Nice.
say, man. All right, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, it really surprised me. So it's like, okay, I love that. I already talked about it, so I won't go into it. But yeah,
Yeah. And like I said, my number one was Noctera, and Batman would be my number two. So that's that. All right. So that's it when it comes to the top 5 and the big books, right? So I guess now it's going to go on to the chopping block, right?
Sharpening up the chop. Here we go. We got chops this week, everyone. And I'm going to start. And this is going to shock everybody. Swamp Thing did.
shocks no one.
Like that issue. Oh, my God. I felt like I couldn't. By the time I was at the end of the issue, I'm like, yeah, I don't. He left New York and then ended up back in New York. And what? No, done.
Sounds about like it's what was it? Future States, the event, right? I was like, wait, what was the event? We only left it a week ago, and I'm like, what's the event?
Perrault's back, and this guy apparently can and can't be Swamp Thing, and he's no.
Oh, I know. Like a lot of people did like it, and I think when it comes to Swamp Thing, I think that it's an acquired taste. I read it, and I just same thing. I couldn't get into it. This is another book that supposedly it is a miniseries. I think it's 10 issues.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think you got to be into the character, and you got to be into that genre. You got to be into that writer.
Even the character. It's not even.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, it's a different character. I like.
We'll say then.
Yeah, I like the elements of the book. I can say, kind of like that creepy.
Oh, so you read it?
Horror feel. Yeah, I did read it.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
Yeah, but I didn't like it. Like I wasn't.
I didn't even try.
I wasn't, but I did like it more than the Future State one.
Okay. Well, that's
but
something.
again, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a bad story. I just think it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me. The only version of Swamp Thing, I mean, I like some of Scott Snyder's, but the only version of Swamp Thing I ever got into was the TV show way back when.
I've never gotten to any Swamp Thing. Never.
Yeah, so the comics just don't grab me.
For the TV show.
Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing was good. I liked Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing. I thought that was really well written.
Man, yes.
Yeah, I like some of it. I don't think I ever finished it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I read the whole thing to say if I liked it or not because I like Animal Man so much, so I kind of stayed in that corner.
Right.
All right, so Kat, what are you chopping this week? Are you chopping anything?
Nothing. I only had 9 books this week. I was very choosy with my books.
Got you. Mike?
Crime Syndicate, for sure. And now, Sensational Wonder Woman, is that an ongoing? Like, what is that book?
I don't know if it's an ongoing, but I think it's a celebration of the 80th anniversary.
Yeah. So probably is not.
It was
I think
weird
it's a digital
because
first.
Okay.
It was just one issue and it was done. Like, that's all it was.
It's a one shot. I think it might be a one shot.
So I don't know. I'm like very confused on it. I was thinking that there would be something else, but that story was like a WandaVision ripoff.
Was it really?
Yeah, it really was. Like, she was asleep and controlled by, what's his name? Psycho Man? Is it Psycho Man?
Oh, Psycho Pirate?
Psycho, I don't know.
He wears the gold mask?
No, he was just some normal dude. Like, looked like a doctor or something. But she was passed out, completely asleep, and her husband comes in and they're living in this perfect world, right? And Wonder Woman is like slowly waking up and trying to realize everything that's going on. It was a WandaVision ripoff. Wow. It truly was. Like, if you read the first like 8 pages of this book, you're like, oh my god. Even the way the artwork was and the way she was dressed like a 1960s sitcom character, typical housewife. Like, even though like it was such a ripoff off of it so much. And then Hawkgirl comes and like rescues her, and she snaps out of it, and they save, she saves her, and that's it. The issue's done, and everything's done, and that's it. The story's over. And I'm like, really? This is it? I'm like, maybe this is just a one and done story.
Hmm.
I wish I didn't.
Sorry.
What do you say?
I was saying Tevye said it was Dr. Psycho.
Oh,
Dr. Psycho. Okay, there we go. So I don't know. Did you find out any information, Kat?
Kenneth said that it's going to be a few issues, which is 6 issues. But when I looked it up, I couldn't find anything. But I do know it was a digital first chapter book. So I'm guessing Kenneth is right.
Yeah, probably. Sounds weird. But if anybody wants to check out a WandaVision review, go watch Mike's channel. He did that review.
Yeah, go check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I did a WandaVision review with my son. We watched the whole season together, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we have a series called, Father and Son. And I was like, why don't we do a video on it? So I asked him a series of questions, and we talked about it together, and it was a lot of fun to do. It really was. And the next episode that we're going to be doing is when Children of the Atom comes out.
Oh, nice.
I was going to ask if you guys were going to watch Winter Soldier or not, or was it?
We are, but I probably won't do a breakdown until the season ends. It's too hard to keep up on a weekly when it comes to that. So, but Children of the Atom we're going to do, because that book is getting a lot of slack. You know what I'm saying? And it hasn't even come out yet. Yeah, so it's like I want to see what that book does for a person that's not into comics like we are, and see if they find that story interesting, if that would get them into the X-Men or into comics in general.
Well, I'm excited for the review and the perspective.
Yeah,
thanks.
For sure.
Brant, are you chopping anything this week?
I am. But before I do, I wanted to ask if any of you guys read the digital first Next Batman. I did not.
I did for an interview. So I read the first 2 chapters of it. But I don't know if I'm going to pick up the actual series. It's kind of the same vibe as the Future State stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so which you didn't love. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to get the physical book. But I'm glad I, read the first 2 chapters.
Okay. For me, Crime Syndicate. I think that's obvious. Yeah, I'm cutting that. And I didn't put it down, but kind of a half chop is Berserker. If that second issue doesn't grab me, I'm done.
I'm just going to go full on chop if the second issue doesn't grab me. I'm
not, you liked it.
Yeah, you liked it.
I didn't read enough books to have a really definitive number 5, but my other 4 I'm very solid on. My number 5 spot, if I would have read a few other books, it might not have made it.
Yeah, it's cool if you liked it, though. You and I like different things sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, I liked it, but again, there was really no substance to it. It was just a bunch of jaw-breaking, bloodbath fighting.
Sometimes that's okay, man. It's all right.
It was very action movie, like Kat kind of said, 80s action movie, kind of, for sure.
So that's the chop block, and that's it.
And that brings us to most anticipated, which I forgot to narrow down.
I know, that's what I was looking at. I'm like,
good luck on your part.
Well, yeah, I'll wing it. We'll go into Taskmaster first, because we did actually have a question if, and this is mainly for Mike and me, if we read the end of Thunderbolts and if we liked it. And then we can go into Taskmaster. But yeah, going into Thunderbolts, it was fun. There were still some fun moments in this issue. The twist of the double turn by Taskmaster was a little weird. I don't understand if it was the same person or not, or if he's just hiding his identity with that mask. The mask that he pulled off. But I enjoy it. You haven't got to read it yet, though, Mike.
Right, okay. Correct, yeah.
So it was still fun, so I won't spoil too much. But
okay.
That didn't really spoil anything. You'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Taskmaster. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and then of course Taskmaster, that's the last issue, right? Issue 4, I think, is it.
I think so. Thank you.
We're getting the wrap up of that. What's going to happen? right? Is Natasha going to catch up with him? What's up with Maria Hill? Like, is he truly dead? Like, there's a lot going on. In issue 3, let me tell you, the first appearance of that Asian character, that superhero, that book got a lot of spec behind it now because it's the first appearance of this character. Book was
really?
I heard the book was like going for like $15 already.
Oh wow.
Yep. But
I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that overall story though is phenomenal. One of the best. I gotta remember that for one of the best miniseries of the year because that's a great book.
Yeah, it's so surprising. I'd still highly recommend it. It's it took Taskmaster into a completely different level, and obviously he's blowing up everywhere now. But yeah, it's really good. So nonstop Spider-Man. You guys are gonna try
it? Yes.
I really don't want to because I like it. I'm only getting it because it's Spider-Man, but this doesn't sound. This is Bachelot's artwork, which I'm not a huge fan of. And then also supposedly this book is literally just action. Like,
good.
Oh man, good.
Yes,
no,
because I'm tired. I'm tired of Nick's. Do you want this, Mary Jane? I'm tired of Norman Osborn. I'm tired of. I'm crying because I'm a baby. I've gotten killed so many times, and then I need some kind of action. I need something.
I want the middle.
We're gonna get another bad comment.
But also, okay, but with the action, like I also want like really, really, really good artwork, and like again, not my style of art.
I don't think Bachelot is. I don't think Bachelot though is going to be doing every issue of this. Though,
Thank God.
But I don't know if I'll get past issue 1. We'll see. I'm gonna read the issue, so we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they'll balance it with some story. Like the one based on the video game Velocity, it was very high octane, high action, heavy book, but it's still so maybe this will do that. Who knows?
I want Spider-Man to fight Hydro Man. That's what I want.
I mean, I know the last. A different Spider-Man book that I liked recent was that Black Cat Strikes one.
That was all the same universe. I actually had to read that for an article. I read all those for that, and they're all pretty solid. They were good.
They were.
I don't know that this will be that, but
right,
we'll see.
But it's good.
Yeah, sticking with Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 61.
Yep.
More talking.
That's the costume.
Is it the costume?
Yeah. Now I did this. I said this. I talked to Brant, I think, about this on GroupMe, but I also said this on my most anticipated video from last week about this book. The cover is a split image, kind of Spider-Man's classic costume and the new costume. But the way it's made, it almost makes it look like that the costume transitions from classic to new. The way it makes it sound, because if you look at the footprints, almost look exactly the same. The spandex is almost all blue, but some of it is the silver part, and then of course some of it's the other part. I could be looking into it too much, but maybe that's why some covers maybe you only see him wearing traditional, and some you see him wearing the new. I don't know, but
I don't even know if I like that. I don't want a new costume. It's just stop.
It's too late. It's already there. It's already happened.
Eventually, he's just going to have the ability to change between every costume just instantly. Just click a button. I want to be Iron Spider today.
He should have that by now. He should have that. He should be like, ooh, I want to be Stealth Spider-Man. Click.
Yeah.
I want to be Iron Spider. Click. He should have that.
Yeah.
Let's see it happen. I like that story more.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. Let's go to Strange Academy, number 9. This has been good. Mike and I have been enjoying this. It's been picking up, and I don't remember where we left off. It seems like it's been a while since last issue.
Well, in this, they went on that field trip, right? And we get to see there was field trip in space. And Doyle was getting interviewed by the counselor, after his death, and then this issue it has to deal with it's like a parents' night. All the parents are coming to the school.
Okay.
So that's what's going on in this particular issue.
Is Dormammu gonna be there?
I think Dormammu is coming. I think something is happening. Yeah. So this could be an interesting issue.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's fun. All right. Daredevil number. Oh, go ahead.
Before we go into it, Terry Vaughn asked a question and he said, "Hey guys, I don't like Spidey's new costume. And are you guys looking forward to Aliens book?" Well, Chris, for you, the same writer who's writing Superman is writing Aliens.
I actually do like Aliens. I'm looking forward to seeing what Marvel's going to do with Aliens. I did like Aliens from Dark Horse. Nervous about what Marvel's going to do, but I'm going to check it out.
Cool. So going into Daredevil, it's 28 or 29? 28, right?
28, I think. Man, I'm so excited. I'm finally getting this book physically too, and I've been loving it. I love that Elektra's Daredevil, and it's been great.
Yeah, glad you guys have finally jumped on board with it and got vested into this.
Finally.
I'm only 3 issues in, but I'm absolutely loving it. I still got to go back and read the rest of it, but yeah, it's so good. You guys are right. I wish I hadn't waited so long to jump into it. So, we got, let's see, Immortal Hulk number 44. Winding down. Yeah.
I am curious if it's like, because it doesn't feel like it's moved much in a while, honestly.
No, it really hasn't. I think the last issue had to deal with the whole situation, the controversial issue. So this is coming back after that. And this one's dealing with the UFOs. As looks like they're going to have to try to stop the Immortal Hulk. The Immortal Hulk is all wimpy right now. He's all skinny. His gamma has been drained.
Just so repetitive. I feel like the same things happening over and over again.
And it's just, but we're getting close to the end, so they got to start wrapping this stuff up now, you know?
Hopefully. Hopefully it ends well.
Yeah. And then Birthright number 47. I think we only have 4 issues left.
4 issues left.
Yeah.
Winding to the end of Birthright.
Yeah.
Stuff. I missed the last issue. I have to read 46 and this issue, 47.
Last issue was good. It's definitely a slower arc as they're wrapping things up, but it was a little bit of a dive into the past, and it was nice. So I just wanted to end on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. All right. So the last 2 books we got to talk about, I think it's the last 2. Yeah. So we got the Joker number 1, which I'm
interested in this one. I'm not a huge fan of March's artwork, but I think it'll work for like the detective Jim Gordon thing going on. So I'm interested. I'll definitely be reading it, of course.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, I don't know. Try it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Joker having a book yet, but we'll see.
Right.
See, I think it's gonna be more Jim's book, so I'm not as worried.
Yeah, if it's that, it'll be better. It'll be more like a GCPD kind of thing. I just totally lost my train of thought. Children of the Atom, which Mike was talking about earlier. Yeah. Finally here. I'm actually excited about this one. I'm really curious.
I'm excited that I know nothing about it. Like I like going into a book just like being totally surprised.
Yep.
Right. Where do these people come from? How do they exist? Is this some kind of different alternate universe? Like, what is this book truly about? And that's what's going to make it fun, kind of like what we were talking about with Suicide Squad earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it should be fun. We'll see. But that's it. That's all the most anticipated.
All right. So now that that's all wrapped up, before we wrap up the show, we're going to just talk about anything that's going on with everybody. So, Kat, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so there's about 2 weeks, maybe 1 week. March 18th is the deadline of my Bisexual by Visibility anthology. I'm going to share the tweet. So if you fit in that category. Tomorrow. There we go. So 1 week. This month is going crazy. 1 week from now, you can enter and as a writer, artist, whatever. Tweet's doing really well, so excited to see everyone's submissions and how many submissions we get at the end. Then also Monday, this coming Monday, is the Dancer Kickstarter, which is crazy. I've been posting it throughout the night, but I'll post it again in the chat. Please follow the page if you can. I would love to get to 200 followers before we launch. I'm at like 179 right now, so we're pretty close, and very excited for the Kickstarter to launch. And other than that, follow Comic Uno's Best Comics of the Week, and that'll be posted tomorrow.
All right. Chris, you got anything going on this week?
This week, I will be working on Top 10 Most Anticipated. I didn't get to do it last week. I had a lot of schoolwork last week. I'm hoping it doesn't recur again this week. And Chaotic Streams on Chaotic Falcon on Twitch. I'm working on a schedule, so this way I have schedules for everything so I can better schedule my time. So look forward to some streams on there. Look forward to maybe another Road from Chaos on my Facebook. And like I said, Top 10 Most Anticipated back on Dark Avengers C86 this week.
All right. Brant, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so nothing like that for me, like as far as upcoming shows or anything like that. But progress has been made on The Last Ember. Pages are coming in, looking gorgeous. Almost 3/4 of the book has been inked now, so it's getting close to being finished, and I'm getting excited about it. We'll have a Kickstarter coming up soon, so I'll talk about that when there's more details on that. But I do want to remind everybody that the audio version of this show will be up Friday night. So be on the lookout for that. We are on iTunes now, so you can find us there or Spotify and various other places. So you'll find the links in the description below later. So
if you can give us a 5-star review, that helps us tremendously, especially a written 5-star review. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing giveaways that will actually, you could be part of if you give the 5-star review.
Yeah. So, and we also have a newsletter. I'll try to put the link to that somewhere. But if you want to sign up for that, you'll get updates from us on when those episodes drop as well. And for me, you can just follow me at Brant Fowler or at Last Number Press for updates on all the comics that I'm doing.
Awesome. And of course, if you're following me on my YouTube channel, Comic Book Corner 2.0, you guys can check out all my latest videos over there. Top 10 comic book covers of the week on Mondays. Tuesday, you have the top 10 most anticipated comic books for next week. And on Wednesdays, you get to see those comic book hauls when, of course, the comic books do come on time. And then all other various videos from there on for the rest of the week. And like I said, this week we'll be doing father and son talking about the Children of the Atom. And then eventually we'll get to that Falcon and Winter Soldier show. So are you guys excited for this particular show?
I really like Emily Van Camp, so I'm excited for her.
I do too.
What we get from the series.
Yeah, I like Emily Van Camp too, so I was really stoked when I saw she was in it. But not as excited as I was for WandaVision, but yeah. It's going to be definitely a different show.
I don't know if I'm going to watch it episode by episode. Like I watched
this, I'm going to binge.
I think it really depends on what everyone's saying. If it's WandaVision level of spoilers, the reason I watched WandaVision Weekly was because I kept getting spoiled of the show. So I was like, oh shit, I have to watch this on Friday. So if it's at that level, I'll watch it episode by episode. If it's not, I'll probably binge the 6 episodes.
Right. I'm probably going to watch it weekly. I think me and my son will just continue that tradition that we do. Like once a week, we'll watch it. And then it's kind of cool because now that he's old enough to watch these movies, after we got done watching WandaVision, we started watching all the movies and from chronological order, from like Iron Man 2, Thor, and so on. So we watched the first 2 Iron Mans, and now we're moving on to Thor. So we're going on to there. So I'm excited to watch them all in order again.
You skipped a lot of my favorites.
What's that?
Incredible Hulk.
I'm watching it from Disney Plus. So it's what Disney Plus, what they have in order. Yeah. So that's what it is.
They've probably written that one out.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The credits scene anyway, really.
The Incredible Hulk. That one just sucks. The Abomination one, though, the one with Abomination, that's a good one.
That's Incredible Hulk. You're thinking.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
Hulk is the one that sucked. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Hulk
Okay.
is definitely the worst. I didn't really
Yeah.
like Incredible Hulk either, but
I liked Incredible Hulk.
not as bad as Hulk.
I love Incredible Hulk, and I still think Ed Norton's the best Bruce Banner there's ever been. But that's me.
Yeah. I thought that movie was kind of cool. I like the whole Abomination thing, and it shows like the power of Hulk and whatnot. So it was cool, man. But yeah, I'm just excited to watch that stuff with my son and share the thoughts with him, now that he's old enough. So it's cool. So that's it. So we talked a little bit about the Marvel Universe and everything else, when it comes to us, and we had a great show. So you guys have anything else before we close out?
Just
think
so.
subscribe and the bell,
Of course,
the socials, like the video. It helps
all
us.
that stuff. Yep. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, thumbs up, bell. You guys got it. You guys in the audio version, check out our YouTube channels, even though Brant doesn't do one. So
I have one.
It. He has one, but he hasn't done one in a long time. But check out lastemberpress.com. You'll find some great stuff over there. And, of course, back up, follow Kat's Kickstarter, like she said. And that's it, guys. That's all we have for you. So stay tuned for next week for another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Enjoy those comic books, everyone, and we'll see you all real soon. Let's do the wave so the audio people know that we're waving and saying goodbye. And take care, everyone.